Welcome to the Grow Senior Care Podcast. Forget about being average. We're here to redefine what's possible in both your business and your life. Get fired up because we're here to help you simplify your life, grow your business with less hassle, and love what you do. Now, here's your host, Jeremy Fuller from Grow Senior Care Marketing.
Hey, this is Jeremy with Grow Senior Care Marketing, and I'm so excited today to have here with me Kat with Olivia, virtual assistants, and today we're going to be unpacking some really valuable information. If you've been thinking about hiring some VAs in your company, whether doing it yourself or going through, a third party like Olivia with Kat, she's going to unpack a lot of valuable information. If you want to go at your own, or just so that you're not making those mistakes. So also, if you're wanting to grow and expand your company, how you can actually affordably do that. So today we're going to be discussing how to build a virtual and in-person cohesive team that can run your home care agency smoothly. All right. So Kat, I just want to introduce you real quick. Why don't you just let the audience know a little bit about who you are? I know you have a home care agency, and then you have this virtual assistant agency that helps home care agencies. Talk a little bit about who you are and the two companies that you own.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for this opportunity today, and thank you for having me. So, hey, everybody. My name is Kat. I'm in Maryland. Just like what Jeremy said, I own a home care agency here in Maryland. I opened it up in 2018, and around 2020 was when the world sort of collapsed and we were all really looking for, or everyone's working remotely, I had an opportunity to try working with a virtual assistant. My business sort of doubled during the pandemic. This was in probably later part of 2020. And so it's really hard for me to find help given that, we're all in a lockdown. And so I resorted to trying the virtual assistant, that is why I created, or I started Olivia 3 years later. It's because it was really a game changer for my agency, and I highly recommend exploring that option if you do have a home care agency. Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. Well, that's I think a lot of people either start a home care agency or start some business because they do encounter a problem and they see an opportunity to solve that problem in some way, either an invention, that's like you watch Shark Tank, a lot of people like, oh, I had this problem while I was, hanging off a tree or driving my car and now my phone doesn't fall between the seats, So it seems like you're trying to solve a problem during COVID and that birthed a company. So people are watching this and we want to try to give them value, want to try to help them out with their home care agencies, or let's say they're in the senior care space. Some of this will also, across different industries in the senior care space, will also apply. The question I think that I hear from a lot of home care agency owners, or just business owners in the senior care space is, should I hire a virtual team member? So can you kind of talk about some of those, certain points or certain things that a business owner should be looking at to start considering, hey, this might make more sense than, say, hiring somebody in an office position?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So should you hire a virtual assistant? I think that's the first question. Absolutely 101%. To me, having the home care agency, it really helped me a lot with efficiency. Right. So the way I do this is that I build a hybrid team. So I keep all of the caregiver facing or client facing or referral source like marketing. So referral source facing tasks in-house. So I have employees for that. And then the ones that can be done remotely behind a computer or on the phone could be easily outsourced. And in that way, you build a hybrid team. You're it's really going to be very, very cost efficient for you. and for the company. And it really helped me drive my admin cost from about 16% when I first started down to about 11 or 12%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
So
really a huge help.
yeah, so you're going to be saving money. So if you want to have, let's say you're having an issue with profit margins, right? I would say they definitely need to be looking into this. Let's say there's a home care agency owner that's got slim margins. Maybe they do a lot of Medicaid, for example.
Absolutely.
I think that's a no-brainer. It's almost a must, really. So
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. So, okay, so if a home care agency or, senior care business owner has ended up at the place, okay, it makes sense. I need to hire virtual assistants. How do they start going down that path to bring on their first virtual team member? To either hire them, find them. Obviously there's companies like yours, Olivia, where they can just get in contact and you guys handle everything. But if they wanted to go down that path and do it hands-on and do it themselves, what are some of the things you guys do to, or you would recommend they do to start looking or bring on their first virtual team member?
Okay. So when I look at this, it's very similar to owning a home care agency, right? Some clients they go private caregivers, and then some go through the agency. I think we all know as home care agency owners the benefits of going through an agency, and so I would equate that sort of similar to what we do in virtual assistants. If you do want to hire your own, then you of course have to do all the legwork and finding the right person. Um, Hiring a virtual assistant, it's a little bit very tedious. In fact, Jeremy, as of our team meeting on Monday, our hiring rate is 0.9%.
Ooh.
0.9%. We screen
Yeah.
thousands of resumes and go through different steps of the hiring just to find that one person we feel is a
Okay, I got to ask you a question then. Okay, so you're hiring what percent again?
0.9.
So it's not even a 1% rate. So it's 99 point, what is that? 0.1% don't get hired. Is that right?
0.1.
Yeah. So, so I'll just share with the audience a little bit, and you too. You may not. I never maybe told you this, Kat. I've been to Upwork, Fiverr, different places to look for talent. Right? You can put ads up on LinkedIn. You can. There's also groups on Facebook, where you can hire people from the Philippines. I've done these things myself, like you said. If an agency owner wants to go down that path, fine. It is a lot of work, right? So what I did is I created a spreadsheet of these questions that was specific to the job description. I was looking for the talent, and I would do a Google Meet, and then I would go through these questions with them. And I got to tell you, I ended up somewhat around the same range. It's like there was a lot of people that applied, but then I would ask them in the job post, I would say, tell me what your favorite color is. So I know that you've read my post, and probably out of every 10, maybe only 3 would actually, when they apply, would say my favorite color is red or blue or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I would know, okay, the 7 other people didn't even read it. It's just copy paste mumbo jumbo stuff.
Exactly.
And so how do I know that they actually can do what I'm asking, right? Because they're just, is it a bot? Is it AI? Just blanket, and then they just and then I also wonder this too, Kat, if you have any insight on this. I also think that there are like agencies overseas that will apply for jobs, but they'll be like ahead over the company, and they have a bot and they help these people apply for jobs, because not every individual overseas has a bot themselves, right? And they're not reading it all the time. So I've also encountered, while interviewing people and seeing the applications come in, more than once, 2 people or 3 people that would apply was connected with the same type of response or like application. And I'm like, why? It's a different profile, but it's the same like application copy. Have you seen stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen quite a lot of different things. Um, it's we it almost feels like we do a lot of things just to like screen them, right? Including like background checks, and now we do social media checks.
Oh,
So we
okay.
look them up on social media to see who they really are, right? Because they're virtual. You're never gonna be, face to face. Although we have some VAs last year that were actually invited by our clients, and they flew them from the Philippines
Wow.
to the U.S. to meet with them and see them face to face. But just in general, it's really hard, and so that's why we put a lot of effort into making sure that we're hiring the best of the best, the cream of the crop, and hopefully, because like our clients are very important to us, and they trust us to really pick uh, a good a good virtual assistant for them, and so we have to do our due diligence.
Right, right. Okay. So let's get into my next question here. A lot of these home care agency owners or people in the, a business owners that are in the senior care space, they're likely going to already have, if they have an organization, they're likely not alone, right? They've got some people in office already. They may even have some team members that are virtual. How would you've worked with quite a bit of home care agency owners to manage their virtual office teams. How would you recommend that a company create a cohesive virtual and in-person office team that are working cohesively together?
Okay, so I have several that I want to say here. Is that first off, before bringing in the virtual assistant, you have to let the team know the purpose of why we're hiring a virtual assistant, because sometimes they may feel like, oh, is this person going to take away my job? Right? So they have to understand the reason why we're bringing a virtual. Once the virtual is in, it's really important for the company to make sure that they have meetings right together. So it's not like, oh, you're the virtual team, oh, you're the in-office team. It has to be one team. So one team. We do most agencies I know have team huddles. So at 9 a.m. to 9:30 we do team huddles. Everybody's there. And for my agency we do for my home care agency we do team meetings every Monday. So every department gets to report what they did for the previous week, or what's coming up for the following week. And so it's just really, I don't really see it like, like a office here and versus a virtual there. It's just like, um, I just feel like, oh, you're in another room, but we meet on Zoom or
Yeah.
things like that. So,
That's
um,
kind of funny because here at our marketing agency at Grow Senior Care Marketing, we have offices like right next to me, and it's just like office, off. It just goes down right, like
uh,
in the line. And there are times where if we're trying to do something on the computer or train somebody on the computer, it makes more sense sometimes to just do a Google Meet and share your screen versus gather around my computer and then everybody's trying to get close and you're like, look at my screen, nobody can
yeah.
really see it that sometimes. So yeah, it makes sense, especially if most of your work is on the computer based. I think it just makes sense. And another thing is, you don't want your virtual office team members to be disjointed or disconnected from what's going
Mhm.
on, boots on the ground. They could become, apathetic or just feel like, okay, I'm over here on an island by myself, and or maybe the stuff that I'm doing doesn't really affect what they're doing over there. So then they start dropping the ball. But
Yeah.
I feel like, and what I've personally seen is that when everybody's connected, when everybody's working together, that those thoughts, those feelings won't be coming and showing up in their personalities and their work ethic and stuff like that. And what are your thoughts on that? Have you
Yeah,
seen
no,
stuff like that?
yeah, of course. And that's the reason why you always want to have opportunities for people to be in a group
Yeah,
setting. So whether that's team huddles, is that team meeting, or just, we all have a coffee break and we all just kind of talk about our day, that type of thing. I think it's really helpful in building a team where some are remote and some are in office.
that's awesome. That's good. So it sounds like you're doing. It sounds like there are agencies that are doing team huddles 9 a.m. to 9:30 in that range, and then you have you yourself. What you're only doing one, which is every Monday for like what, an hour? Is that an
Um,
EOS meeting? Like your
we
EOS
no,
meeting?
we do both. So we do a short team huddle in the morning. So if there's anything like urgent, we just get that out of the way. And if we need help from a team member, that's where, hey, I
Like
need
every day.
this person. Yeah.
Got
So
it.
it's
Okay.
like maybe 15, 20 minutes for the entire team to just kind of say what what they're doing that day or where they need help. And then our Mondays is much more, it's usually like a 1.5 to 2 hour meetings. I
Hmm.
mean, that's where we just dig into everything.
Yeah.
Why did we have an overtime? Like things like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, we do the same thing here. So we just recently started doing the team huddles every day in the morning. So, all right. So good advice. I like that. So what does it look like to bring on more than say 4 virtual team members? How would you track them? How do you keep them accountable? Is there some strategies there as you start to build more and more virtual team members? Can you talk a little bit about that, growing a bigger virtual team than say 1 or 2?
Yeah. So I think in my own home care agency, when I reach about four, 4.5, because if I had a part time
Yeah.
virtual assistant, I needed to bring in a VA manager, because it's I needed someone to like give them a little bit of more love than I can give, right? So we started having a VA manager. For some of the other companies that I've seen, we have clients right now that have 5 or 6 virtual assistants. In fact, we have one that just finished an exploration meeting and he wanted 6, and we're like, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, so basically the challenge there is making sure that everybody has some sort of person in the office that they can connect with, right? So then
Mm.
whatever issues they have, or whatever it is that they need, they're able to bring that, and then they don't feel like they're forgotten. it's
So
it's a
who would
little.
be bringing that up? All of the VAs could have a person they can connect with if they're having an issue, or a VA manager would be the one in charge to go to the in-office team.
It could be both, or it could be one or the other, I mean.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it just depends on, are you ready to bring in VA manager for your virtual team? Is it
Yeah.
large enough to need a virtual manager?
Hmm.
Or do I just need to have one point person in my local office that, checks in with the VAs and making sure that, we're connecting with them and see
Yeah.
if we have any issues.
Yeah.
Um,
Coming back to that first question, where to start if I'm going to bring on my first virtual assistant. Well, let's speak specific to home care here. What would be probably the first position that a VA should start doing? It like scheduling, care coordination. Like what would you say?
I love this question. Um, so I think the easiest role to outsource is recruitment. Recruitment, basically for home care agency, it's the same. It's one major platform that we use, Indeed, right? That's the number one source of our applicants for caregivers, and then the process in hiring is sort of the same for a lot of agencies. And so I feel like that's the easiest to outsource. Scheduling, it's a little bit trickier, but of course it can be done because we've done it multiple times. um, any other admin work is easy to outsource. And there's one thing that I really found value when I hired my own virtual executive assistant. This is something that is new, um, and that is ideal for a CEO or the owner of a home care agency that is growing a big company. They're super busy. They don't have, they're spending their time on like 10, $12 tasks, 10, twelve
Yep.
dollars
Yep.
per hour tasks, right? Um, and I was talking to Kevin Hansen actually the other day, and I was saying I'm almost upset when I see CEOs working on this reports and creating Excel sheets, data entry, and things like that. Because your role, I always say this, your role as the CEO of your company is to make sure that you put all your efforts in things that actually grow the company,
Hmm.
and creates the biggest impact. So,
Yeah,
so
that's good.
yeah,
Yeah, I would say you should be reading the reports, not creating the reports, and then deciding what to do with the data that you read, that you digest. So you really become more of a strategist as an owner,
mhm, yes.
and that's kind of the role that I started moving into. Is let's strategize this. How do we implement it? I believe there, Dan Martell. I think he has it's like a principle on like dividing your time. I think he says if I remember correctly, it's 10% kind of building out the task or the workflow would come from the owner or the person in charge in that department. So, but mostly the owner. Hey, 10%. Then 80% would come with the team building out the actual SOP or, the tool that's getting used. You click here, you go there, or building out a report or whatever, connecting the software. And
Mhm.
then the final 10% would be approval, fixing in a little thing, and then it's live, right? So I feel like that's where owners should be spending their time on things like that,
Yeah.
tweaking things, spending 10%, and then letting the team handle the 80%, and then
Right.
fixing anything left over. So you've brought on, you have a lot of experience. You guys, not only do you have Olivia, but you've got Nest in Care, which is a home care agency owner yourself. So you kind of, you know what to look for when hiring, where to put them, where to put the virtual team members and what position first and all that kind of stuff. But then you also have a lot of data probably, like, because you have 100 plus home care agencies that Olivia services. What are some of the common mistakes that you see repeated by companies?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, in the context of clients having maybe their first virtual assistant and they're kind of lost, like how to work with a virtual assistant, I think number one is training. Having
Mm,
a virtual assistant, even from an agency, is not a plug and play. So
right.
that's the number one misconception. We train them like 50, 60%, and then you take them and you train them on your protocols and how you know what are your requirements for hiring a caregiver or your protocol for scheduling and things like that.
Like
So
if it's
that
recruiting, what's the SOP on all the steps you go through? Okay.
yes. So absolutely, I think that's number one, not spending enough time to actually train them in that first few weeks. Number two
Mm,
would be communication and feedback. So a lot of times we delegate something and then we don't feedback our VA.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So they don't know, did they do good? Did they not? Or like, they're kind of lost. They just feel like, okay, like, because I have VAs that said, I wish they could give me more feedback. They
mm,
always
mm-hmm,
just tell me that, oh, it's good, but I don't really know.
mm.
So I thought that was something that was missing. And then the third one is really making that conscious effort of treating your VAs as a real member of your team. That's very important. They need to feel like they belong, because when they
What are
belong,
some things that you recommend to do that?
so definitely making sure that they're part of every team meeting that you have. And then we have some clients that actually put them on their website, like part of their team. This is our
Mm-hmm,
team, and their
mm-hmm.
photo is there. What else? And then recognizing them, like it's their birthday or it's a holiday or whatever, they did something good, you do just as how you would with a local staff.
Right. Got it. Okay. Well, very good. So let's get into some tech a little bit. So, what software would you recommend for even, let's say they don't start building out virtual team members, but let's say they do, and they start building out one or two virtual team members. If the internal office didn't have a communication method like a team chat or something, or let's say their team chat is like on a group message, like texting, like SMS texting or something, what would you recommend to keep the virtual team kind of connected with communications? What's going on? I need help over here. Maybe somebody in the office needs help with something and they ask the VA, and you see it as the owner and you're like, I'm not sure if I want the VA doing that or if I want the person in the office doing that. You can be a part of that conversation. What do you recommend software wise
Yeah.
to do that?
So I think a lot of home care agencies already are using the VoIP phones that has
Right.
text messaging capabilities, and so a lot of times the messages are in there, and it could be in groups, or it could just be individual.
Hmm.
The other software that we use a lot is Slack.
Okay.
So we have, and in Slack you could also create specific channels, so it's not always pinging on your end. So
Right.
yeah, those are the two things that I love.
Okay, very cool. And then I don't know if you ever heard of this, but we personally use Discord. I'm
Mm.
a gamer. I game every once in a while when I have time. I've got two kids, so it's like not a lot of time, but Discord's free, and I know Slack is free, but then don't they like remove a bunch of features
I
until you
think it's
pay?
okay, but then they delete the messages after I think 90 days or something. I don't know. It's like a
Oh,
if
okay,
it's
interesting.
free, if it's a free Slack. Yeah.
Yeah, so with Discord, it doesn't do that. You can just
Mm.
have the history there for free forever. They keep trying to put out features like to buy things on Discord, but you can create your channels and you can do video chat. Can you do video chat on Slack?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, very cool. Okay. So what software would you recommend for task to track simple tasks that a team member's doing? Let's say you want an easy way just to run a report. Did these four team members do X? What kind of task system would you recommend?
Um, I so for project management, right? If it's like specific projects or tasks, we personally use Notion. We actually just started it. And so I still need to have my VA teach me how to use it. But so far, I'm loving the whole dashboard and how easy it is to actually use it. Um, and then I also like, I've tried Trello before, which was really good as well. And I've heard from other clients they love Monday.com.
Okay.
And I've used some Asana, but I
Yeah.
think for me, I'd go for Notion and probably Trello because those are the two things that I've used so far.
Yeah, what I think is cool about Notion is you can almost do anything in there.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to ask you about this. It's something that you can do in Notion, knowledge base
Yeah.
or an SOP. Like you hit the nail on the head about, hey, one of the common mistakes is a lack of training. You guys are going to train them 50, 60% of the way there on, Clear Care, Access Care, whatever care management software, to do the scheduling and stuff or other tasks. Maybe it's a different piece of software or whatnot. But every home care agency might use that piece of software a little bit different, right? So the settings might be the same on what you can do, but how they utilize it might be vastly different home care agency by home care agency. So I believe they need a knowledge base, right? And in that knowledge base, it should be broken down into HR, billing, scheduling, recruiting to
Mhm.
the departments that are there in a home care agency. And then you have, just basically your knowledge base on how you do these things. Do you see some home care agencies that even have that? It's like these are standardized things that we do and they group them together in a knowledge base. Is that common?
I haven't seen. I think I've met one home care agency in Chicago who uses Notion, and he showed me, but it was sort of a very. I felt like it was too much for me at that
Yeah,
time
yeah.
looking
Because
at
you
it.
can do a lot with Notion.
Right,
It can
right.
get confusing.
Yeah, but the way we're using it is we're actually like we have a main dashboard and everything lives there and it's just separated into sections. So it's easy to like just go in that dashboard and go to the SOPs or go to reports and that's where all the EODs go to, things like that.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
for
it's
those of you listening, they're like, EOD, what is that? Well, that's an end of day report.
yes, which is very common when you have a virtual.
Yep.
That's typically what they submit at the end of the day, end
Yeah.
of day and end of week.
So we actually do an SOD and an
Start of day.
EOD, start of day. Hey, this is what I'm aiming to get done. And then we have an EOD. This is what I actually was able to accomplish. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, those things are too very different.
And I
So
want to add, Jeremy, when you said SOD, because if you're thinking about how you would utilize that, when the virtual assistant comes in the morning, that's the first thing that she does is she writes a SOD, start of day report. These are things that I'm going to be working on today, and then in the end, she would say, if there's anything that you need me to prioritize or add to my task, let me know. So that's like a proactive approach into saying, hey, I'm here working on this, but if you need me, let me know.
yeah, it's like coming by the office and say, hey, I'm here. I'm going to be
Yeah,
working on this. I'm going to get that stuff taken care of today. Let me know if you need anything. Oh, I need this. Very good.
exactly.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on here today and just unpacking some of these things that are valuable to home care agency owners. Uh, Kat, just spend a little bit of time talking about how you solve virtual recruiting problems and staffing problems with home care agencies. So that way, I know that's also a valuable thing. Some home care agencies want to do it themselves. I think we gave them some good advice here. But what do you guys do? Why should they reach out to you?
Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. So, Olivia was born out of my own experience as a home care agency owner as well. So, when I saw, like I said in the beginning, when I had that overwhelm and a lot of problems during COVID of finding a staff, I turned into trying that virtual assistant. And because it was a game changer for me, for a while, I kind of didn't want to share that, but I thought that I thought that this is going to be revolutionary for the home care industry. And today, so we've only been in business for close to 2 years. We work with over 100 home care agencies, almost 150 virtual assistants that are
Wow.
actively working. And we're not even there yet. I mean, our we have very high goals, and I personally I love the impact that I'm creating. Not just the help that the not just the help from that we give to the home care agencies, and how
Yeah.
it really affects, like lowers down their admin costs, but also one thing that I didn't realize in the beginning, honestly, Jeremy, was the impact that I'm creating for the people that are in the Philippines.
Mm.
um, I didn't realize that until I started really getting to know them, and seeing, what their life, like how they are and what they do and how they help their family. And so it really like just makes my heart, what do you call this?
Moves you.
Happy,
Yeah, yeah.
happy just to, for them saying, hey, I'm able to send my brother to school or my sister to school.
Yeah.
We pay for their tuition or help rebuild our house or pay for, like medical bills. So it's really that impact alone, it makes my heart really happy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so if they want to reach out to you, where do they go?
So you want to reach out to us? Of course, you can go to our website, oliviapros.com. I think that is the best way. Or you can call our phone number 240-690-9880. But I think oliviapros.com, if you want to know more about us. If you want to check us out as well, Google reviews. We are 80 plus 5-star Google reviews, and a lot of it is from our clients. So so proud of that.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on here today. And again, this is Jeremy of Grow Senior Care Marketing. And if you need digital marketing, if you need high-end websites, Kat is actually one of our clients as well. She's been with us for what, 5 years?
5 years.
5 years. So we help you. We help you be seen. If you notice, hey, I'm getting less than 20 or 30 calls a month, and I'm not getting a lot from my website. I'm just getting low numbers, zero to 30, somewhere in that range. We can get your phone calls up to 100 to 300 calls coming in on average every single month. So we can dramatically increase your presence online, increase your business. So if you're looking for something like that, reach out to us. You can go to growseniorcaremarketing.com. We appreciate you. If you've got any questions, post them in the comments. Kat, it's been a pleasure. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Thank you so